All right, Dolphin fans. So, training camp starts tomorrow, Veterans Report. And of course, the only thing that anybody's going to want to talk about right now, in terms of the Dolphins, is what's going on with Tua. He doesn't have he does have a contract. Technically, he could and should play on his fifth-year option, but that's not the spot we're at. Now, real quick, if you're new here, do me a favor and hit that subscribe button. I haven't made videos in the last 3 or 4 months. For those of you who don't follow me on the hockey channel, Ellie and Fluffy both passed in the last 4 months, quite in the middle of the Panthers winning the Stanley Cup. Ellie passed in March. Fluffy just passed a couple weeks ago. And so my attention had been focused over there with the hockey and, of course, taking care of the dog. But now camp starts, and we'll be back to regular content here. Now, with the Tua situation, there's a couple of things here. First of all, I've had this weird analogy in my head, but it kind of makes sense. When it comes to, if you want to give your quarterback the big bucks, is he an elite quarterback? Is he a franchise quarterback? Whatever you want to say. Guys, think of a quarterback as a chicken leg. Okay? Follow me here. You think of him as a chicken leg that you have personally barbecued. Now, if you get it just right, okay, let's say the Patrick Mahomes chicken leg, okay, the meat in the middle of the bone is still on. It's just fallen off, but it hasn't been burnt off. It's still juicy. And the cartilage on both ends is soft enough to chew up, okay? That's Mahomes. When he's bad, it's still not so bad. When he's great, it's just absurd. And when he's in between, in the middle, he's got everything that you need. Okay. Then there's the Josh Allen chicken. There's the Josh Allen chicken legs, which everything has burnt to a crisp except for the very high end. The high end is so delicious, and the cartilage just melts in your mouth, and it's so beautiful. But every once in a while, there's one of those black spots in there. You know what I'm talking about. You eating the chicken leg, and you're 3-4 in, and all of a sudden, that don't taste right. And you look, and there's that dark spot. That's too late now. It's in the mouth, and you already swallowed. That's the Josh Allen chicken leg. But the meat on the good end, on the big end, it's so tempting. It's so delicious. Go ahead, you pay for it. Then there's the Tua leg. The Tua leg, you have somehow left cartilage on the bad end. It ain't great, right? You've kind of burnt it off. And what's that? That's the whole throwing with anticipation thing, where every once in a while you're going to have that throw. You're like, where's he throwing the ball, right? I mean, it's going to look bad. If Tua takes 2 steps and thinks Tyreek is going to break right and Tyreek breaks left, boom. For us, he's throwing right to the safety. Where's he throwing the ball? That's the burnt. Then you get to the good end, though. The good end of the chicken leg. Oh, the meat is so delicious, right? Rarely do you find a chicken leg that has the meat at the end of that bone that's just that juicy, that delicious. The cartilage is soft. That's when he's throwing it in with anticipation, and him and the receivers are on the same page, and offensive line gives him a little bit of time. You can't be any better. You cannot be any better between his accuracy and the timing. There are throws that he makes. You're like, how did he get that ball in? He's never open. How many times have we said that with Tyreek, right? He's never open. Tua threw the ball, and it's a touchdown, but Tyreek was never open. The problem is the meat in the middle. And that's where the problem lies with Tua, is the meat in the middle. It's bone dry. It's been burnt off. It's empty. When you look at Tua as a whole, he has a very, very exceptional elite high end. When it's bad, it's going to be bad. It's going to be real, real bad. But the middle part, the ability to make plays with his legs, whether that be 3rd and 3 and you can call the run, a running play for the quarterback, or, and this also, I got to lump McDaniel in here. I want to use this as a specific example. The middle of the bone, where the meat is, when Tua is just good. Now, I understand Tua's not going to run around and make plays like Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. We're not asking him to be that. But he also needs to be put into a better position by McDaniel. McDaniel needs to figure out what Tua can do well. If it's 3rd and 3, okay, follow me here. It's the 4th quarter. There's 6 minutes left, and we got a 4-point lead, which means we can lose with 2 quick field goals. We can lose this game, okay? It's 3rd and 3. We're at the 48, okay? What McDaniel needs to learn, and partially Tua, is that's when you don't call the anticipation throw. That is when where does Mahomes go? Kelsey. Where did Brady go? Gronkowski. You need to, as McDaniel, devise the playbook and devise plays that can take advantage of what middle of the road skill set Tua does have on those plays. Because 3rd and 3, remember, the other team's losing by 4 to 6 minutes left. So what's going to happen? The defense is going to start taking some chances, right? Maybe that safety guesses on Tyreek's route. Boom, interception, balls at midfield, a couple of first downs. There's field goal number 1, and we all know the Dolphins, they can find a way to fumble away that game. Next thing you know, there's 2 minutes left. The other team has the ball, and they can win the game with a field goal. So we get the high end, and I think that most of us are willing to accept the interceptions that are coming from those anticipatory throws, but they need to be timed differently. McDaniel needs a different part of a playbook to know, okay, it's 3rd and 3, we're at midfield. All we really need is a couple of first downs, and this game is locked away. Throw the ball to the tight end. All right, he completely underused Gesicki, and I know Gesicki is not in the same class as Gronk or Kelsey, but he just never used them. And Smythe, when was the last time you heard Durham Smythe drop the pass? Maybe he could come up with once. When's the last time he dropped 2 passes? All the dude does is catch the ball. The rare times when he's targeted, he catches the ball. He may not get more than the 4 yards, but he got the 4 yards. You get the first down, and you keep the chains moving. That's where McDaniel needs to help Tua. All right? Because Tua is not going to scramble. I mean, there's the once in a million times when he might take off. And that's the thing. You got a Kelsey, or excuse me, you have a Mahomes, you have an Allen. If it's 3rd and 3, the quarterback knows he could take off and run. The offense coordinator, the head coach, they know they can call a play that's kind of an either or. Hey, if this guy's not open, just get the 3 yards with your legs, okay? The defense also has to account for that. With Tua, you basically, even if Tua was the kind of running quarterback that you would want him to be, he's one bad hit away from being concussioned out of the league. So you're not really going to running around a lot back there anyway. So defense already kind of knows, right? This is likely not going to be a bootleg, right? Tua's going to have to, McDaniel's going to call a certain segment of plays, and the defense can get to guessing on those late in the games. Interceptions, you don't know the whole story. So what this all revolves around, obviously, is here we are. Camp's going to open up tomorrow, and it could change by the time this video is up. But right now, Tua doesn't have a long-term deal. He could play in a 5th-year contract. We've all know the argument of he wants a long-term deal to be protected from injury, but of course, I'm sure the Dolphins want to be protected from injury. Tua's basically had the one healthy year. What this does show, though, and I'm not a Greer fan. I'm really not. Being the guy that's been doing the Panther videos for the last 8 seasons, I know what a really good GM looks like, and Greer ain't it. So I'm not here to elevate Greer's opinion. That said, okay, Greer does see what a lot of us fans see, which is, I'm not so sure. And the point I'm making there is for those of you if you hear any criticism of Tua, are immediately be like, you're just a hater, you're a problem. You're part of the problem here because you have politicized him somewhat to the point where you can't say anything critical about Tua without being called a hater, et cetera, et cetera. And so his value, maybe to him, maybe to others, has been elevated somewhat by the fighting of the fan base. Okay, the man is not. He may have Marino-esque numbers with the way that the rules are now, but he's not Dan Marino. Okay, let's face it. He's not gonna. You're not gonna put the game on the arm of Tua and say go make plays all over the field. Okay, that's generally speaking not going to happen. Now, at the same time this going on, you've got the other quarterbacks getting paid, and they're getting paid, and they're getting paid. And Tua, kind of rightfully so, right? I can see both sides. He's like, hey, I led the league in passer rating, et cetera, et cetera. Okay, sure. But there's still not enough meat in the middle of that bone. Greer sees it. A lot of us also see it. Now, if those other quarterbacks had not been signed for 50, 55, all these crazy numbers, it would have been more realistic to ask Tua, hey, man, you got a fifth-year deal. Yeah, it's not like you're not getting paid to play football. Prove it. Prove, number one, that you can stay healthy 2 years in a row. Prove that you can put a little bit more meat on the middle of that bone, okay? And prove that you can win a playoff game. He's been to one playoff game. I'm not going to hold it all against him. I know he was injured. But the bottom line is that he was, when we needed him to clinch a home playoff spot, he was bad. He was bad, and then he was bad in the playoffs. Not completely his own fault. Okay, I know the defense had its issues and all of that. But what those good defenses showed, basically, is if you take that away and almost take that away, there's nothing left. And part of that is on McDaniel. Okay? Because what McDaniel needs to do is look at what the defense is doing and say, they took away Tyreek and they're not letting us get to the middle of the field. F it, run the ball. Because in case you hadn't noticed, our per yard carry, our average is like 40 yards a carry. It's a slight exaggeration, but you get the point. So some of Tua's supposed inadequacies might be because McDaniel's stubborn as a mule with this play calling, insisting on proving that Tua can do it rather than being more concerned with, hey, it's 3rd and 2. We should probably just run the ball and close this out. So in the end, what we have is camp starts tomorrow, and it appears as though, what do you call it? You don't want to call it a holdout, but he's going to come to practice but not play? What are we doing? And this is the part where, while I will applaud Greer for being smart and seeing the deficiencies in Tua's game, the other part is, okay, but camp starts tomorrow. You have to pick a lane. At this point, you have to pick a lane. Now, maybe they do today. And I understand that there's not a whole lot of difference between giving him $47 million and $52 million. Not in terms of the team's cap space, right? The difference between, if those are the numbers, the difference between $47 million and $52 million for the next 6 years or whatever it would be, that's not a Super Bowl. That's not enough cap space to really make a huge difference. It's a player here, a player there. It can help you. But the Florida Panthers just won the Stanley Cup. Now, last year they lost in the Stanley Cup final. And all summer long and all season long, the leadership on that team said, we're going back and we're going to win. They named this season redemption. We're going back and we're going to win. We're going to finish this time. What am I hearing out of Dolphin camp? Crickets. I can't make a cricket noise, but that's what you're hearing. I'm not seeing anybody coming out talking about we need to prove that this team is, belongs in the conversation with the Kansas Cities and the Buffaloes and the Ravens. I'm not hearing anything other than basically, how can we replace the guys that we lost because of cap constraints on defense? We've done an okay job. Losing Shaq to retirement didn't help. But the main thing has just been the Tua decision. And at some point, Greer or Tua, somebody is going to have to blink. At some point, there's no way around this. Somebody is going to have to blink. I suspect in the end, it's going to be Greer, because you've developed no options. You have developed no options whatsoever. Okay? There's no young up-and-coming quarterback that you believe in. You didn't even believe in Skyler enough to not go in and get Mike White. I don't think anybody think Mike White leading this team to a Super Bowl. Can Tua lead this team to a Super Bowl? The answer to that question is he's the only quarterback on the roster with a chance, okay? And you have designed the offense and you have the coach that should be able to maximize whatever his talent level is. Unless you're going to do what the Panthers did, unless you have a Jonathan Huberdeau, Mackenzie Weegar for Matthew Tkachuk trade up your sleeve, or suddenly, or a golf for Stafford to go to football, unless you've got one of those trades up your sleeve, just pay him. Try to pay him the least amount that you can. But if he's not going to play on the 5th-year option, which, right? But let's follow that through. What is he? Is Tua going to sit out all the training camp? He's going to sit out the season? Is he going to take the fines? I don't think so. I think at worst he might sit out a week or two. Does Tua really want to send the message that he's more important than the rest of the team and he starts missing, games? I don't know. All those questions I hope we don't have to answer. I'm not suggesting that I think Greer should blink. I'm saying I think he will because he's developed no other option in terms of the quarterback room and in terms of how to even run the offense. All right. He's got an offensive line that's kind of their basic job is, look, just give them 2 steps. Okay. I know you're not going to give them 3. Just give Tua 2 steps, Tua quick, get the ball out. That's the whole offense. So if you had Tua, if something crazy happened and Tua said, yeah, F you, I'm sitting out, Mike White's going to lead this team to about 4 wins, maybe 5. Okay. So at this point, you have done all the renovations. You have fixed up the yard. You've put in new windows. You've put the air conditioning in. You've done all of the work. You may as well sign the mortgage papers because without it, you're homeless. And that's where we're at. All right, Dolphin fans, again, apologize for lack of content on this channel. And we'll see you guys again tomorrow.